Okay, in this video I want to take a look at 7 employment claims that you can bring to the WRC, the Workplace Relations Commission, in relation to hours of work. And all of these claims are covered by the Organisation of Working Time Act 1997. I'm Terry Gorry, I'm a solicitor in Enfield, and we'll have a look at them now. The first one has to do with the daily rest period. You are entitled to a rest period of not less than 11 consecutive hours in each period of 24 hours. This is set out in Section 11 of the Organisation of Working Time Act 1997. Breaks then is the second heading. Section 12 of the Act sets out your rest period entitlements. So it's 15 minutes every 4 hours and 30 minutes worked, or 30 minutes for every 6 hours worked. And there's an extra bit there, or a bit of a slight differentiation for retail workers. The third heading is the weekly rest period. Section 13 of the Act states that you are entitled to a rest period of at least 24 consecutive hours in each period of 7 days. The fourth category is to do with the maximum permitted hours worked. Section 15 states that you should not be required to work more than an average of 48 hours in each 7-day period. This average is calculated. Well, it may be calculated over 4 months, it may be calculated over 6 months. It might depend, or will depend, on the particular circumstances and the particular industry. But you do need to double check that before you bring a claim in relation to any of these claims, that there isn't an exception or an exemption, and that you're calculating correctly your rest period or your maximum working hours and so on. The fifth heading for claims under the Organisation of Working Time Act to the Workplace Relations Commission has to do with annual leave. The Act sets out your minimum entitlements. Generally it's 4 working weeks in the year if you're a full-time employee. If you're a part-time employee, generally it's 8% of the hours you work in a leave year. Now there's a number of different calculations that is required to be done by the employer, and whichever calculation gives you the best outcome, the most leave, is the one that you should be entitled to. But if you're part-time, generally it's 8% of the hours that you've worked, and if you're full-time it's 4 working weeks. The sixth heading then is in relation to public holiday entitlements. These entitlements are set out in the Act in Section 21 and 22. You're entitled to either a paid day off on the holiday, or a paid day off within a month, or an extra day's annual leave, or an extra day's pay. Again, the calculations here can be a little bit complex, a little bit tricky, because it will depend on whether you would normally be expected to work on the public holiday or not. So you need just to get into greater detail there. All of the information that I'm giving you in this video is set out on my website, employmentrightsIreland.com. employmentrightsIreland.com. If you go to that website and you stick in a search for how to calculate annual leave, then all of this information is set out there, and it sets out exactly how public holiday entitlements and annual leave and so on is calculated, and the rate at which you should be paid, etc., etc. The sixth broad category then of claims under the Act to the WRC is for excessive night hours. The Act provides that an employee should not work more than 8 hours, or an average of 8 hours, over a 2-month period in any period of 24 hours. And then there are specific rules, slightly different rules, for mobile and road transport workers. Again, have a look on my website, because I have links to the various statutory instruments and EU directives which deal with the exceptions and exemptions. Again, let me reiterate a word of warning. There are exceptions and or exemptions for each of the foregoing categories. So before you bring any claim to the WRC, get advice to ensure that you have actually a claim and that your rights are actually being breached. You may not need to bring a claim in any event. If you point out to your employer what the problem is and that you suspect that you're not getting what you're entitled to, then it may well be the case that he or she will remedy it, and you may not need to bring a claim. My name is Terry Gorry, I'm a solicitor in Enfield. I hope you find this video useful. If you do, you might just give it the thumbs up down below, if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, and I have a YouTube channel that you might be interested in subscribing to. It has a lot of videos on it, all about doing business in Ireland, about employment law, essentially about business and law in Ireland. And there's various playlists covering anything from small business to employment law to criminal law to road traffic to residential property to wills to personal injuries and so on. So have a look on at my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.